When Gege said he'd kill everyone, he wasn't kidding. We've already seen 3 characters permanently exit JJK such as Choso, Nanami, and Kashimo. They're gone for good and won't be coming back. Sad but true. One thing Nanami, Choso, and Kashimo all have in common is that they were seen in the Soul World. The Soul World is the next destination for those who are technically never coming back. Call it the afterlife, heaven, or whatever you like, but it's the place where souls stay for good. Kashimo and Choso both 100% arrived at their destination. For Nanami, he's technically on a plane to the south, which is the destination of the dead. So we can say for sure that the characters we see in the Soul World or who have taken the south are basically never coming back. Call it the afterlife, heaven, or whatever you like, but it's the place where souls stay for good. However, some characters have technically died but never reached the Soul World, or have taken the North Route, which indicates rebirth. This means they will likely return to the Jujutsu world. Let's dive deep into these characters and what to expect when they come back. The first character that will make a comeback is Gojo. Many people have lost hope in Gojo's comeback, and there's nothing wrong with that, but one thing we know is that Gege is bringing Gojo back, and it has already been communicated to us through various images, symbols, and specific phrases. If you have watched the 11-hour-long video the Gege has released, you will see that there is a picture of a lotus. For many people, it will look like it was put there for fashion and design, but in reality, Gege does not put things there for designs or fashion, but deliberately to symbolize something. In Buddhism, the lotus is associated with purity, spiritual awakening, and faithfulness. The flower is considered pure, as it can emerge from murky waters in the morning and be perfectly clean. In JJK, when Gojo was cut in half, we can see a panel with a lotus. The meaning of lotus is strength and rebirth. Rebirth only means one thing: Gojo will return home to Earth, but reborn. We know he will return to Earth, so the question we should be asking is not if he will be back, but when he will be back. And we probably have the answer, and that is the Tengen merger. The real reason why Gojo's comeback is 99.9% after the Tengen merger is because for the merger to happen, Gojo and Tengen cannot be in the same picture. Gojo and Tengen in the same place will mean goodbye to the Tengen merger, goodbye to Yuji's domain expansion, and we can just say goodbye to the whole series. So, everyone wishing for Gojo's comeback in the Culling games, don't get your hopes up too high. It's unlikely to happen and will ruin the story, and Gege probably has no intentions of bringing him back during the Culling games. Let's not forget that this is Yuji's story, not Gojo's. Gojo coming back in the new world has been foreshadowed multiple times, and they all happened before Gojo was sealed in Shibuya. In one of the panels, Kenjaku tells Gojo that he will see him in the new world. Kenjaku's main aim was for Gojo to return after the new world was created, where Tengen was dead, but Gege, obviously being intelligent, knew that Gojo coming back after the Tengen merger would mean he would no longer need his 6 eyes. So Gege had no option but to kill Gojo from the story. Killing Gojo from the story means that Gojo can now come back but sacrifice something, which is his 6 eyes. Gojo now has a reason for him to lose his 6 eyes, and it makes more sense for the story. The 6 eyes cannot exist in the new world because Tengen is no longer around. The purpose of the 6 eyes was to aid in merging Tengen and the Star Plasma Vessel. The manga reveals that Tengen, the 6 eyes, and the Star Plasma Vessel are connected by fate. If one disappears, the others must also vanish. Since Tengen is gone, there can be no more Star Plasma Vessel and no more 6 eyes. It makes perfect sense why Gojo would return after Tengen is gone and not before the Tengen merger. So we can expect Gojo to make a binding vow, sacrificing his eyes for his life and returning without one of his 6 eyes. That sounds like bad news for most people, but think about it. Gojo won't be out there doing his solo monster thing anymore. He'll come back better than ever, ready to live his life and help society control its negative emotions so weak curses don't keep popping up. So we can say, without a doubt, Gojo is coming soon and right after Tengen is gone and not during the Culling games. The second character that will make a comeback is Nobara. Most people think Angel took her place permanently, but there is no evidence to suggest this. Angel was needed for Gojo's unsealing, and after that, her job was done. She even states in one of the panels that her role was complete after she removed Gojo's seal. This indicates that she was only a temporary character, not a permanent one. Therefore, we can expect Nobara to reclaim her spot, though not immediately. We all saw her seemingly die after Mahito used his soul transfiguration on her. One thing we've learned from seasons 1 and 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen is that once Mahito transfigures your soul, there's no coming back. The soul and body are basically one. Change the soul, and the body changes too. Not even the reverse curse technique can reverse the damage that has happened to the soul. We've seen this with characters like Junpei, Nanami, and many others. However, Nobara's soul transfiguration was different. Gege didn't show her blowing up like Nanami or turning into a creature like Junpei. She just lost an eye. Those who turned into other creatures were stuck that way forever. However, Nobara didn't transform into something else. The fact that we have haven't seen Nobara's soul go to the afterlife could be a strong indication that she will return, possibly in a way similar to Gojo. Nobara's return won't rely on the reverse curse technique since RCT can't fix a soul that's been transfigured. The only route for her comeback is through a binding vow. This has already been foreshadowed by Gege in one of the trailers. In the trailer, we see her in the center of a room with chairs surrounding her, which closely resembles the higher-ups room where Utah was making binding vows. The room Nobara is in might represent the binding vow of the afterlife, where she will sacrifice something significant to get a second chance. This implies she will follow a similar path to Gojo. This means she's gonna have to give something up, and it's probably gonna be her curse technique, which is the straw doll technique. Now, the next character that might make his return to Jujutsu Kaisen is Higuruma. Most people think that Higuruma is dead and will never come back. However, we haven't seen his soul depart to the soul world like Kashimo, Choso, or even Gojo. Technically, this means he is likely to return, but not anytime soon. If a character does not come back in the culling game, it does not mean they will never be back. The Tengen merger is happening, so the only time they will be back is after the Tengen merger. We all witnessed Wee Wee take Higuruma to Shoko, right before Sukuna could even lay a finger on him. Higuruma now faces a crucial decision. Take the path north or head south. Opting for the north would mean making a sacrifice. We know that Higuruma was a depressed lawyer due to unjust verdicts placed on his clients. As a lawyer, Higuruma often had to deal with tough situations where he was blamed and his clients didn't receive a lawful verdict. We can expect him to come back as a new person, probably a better lawyer or just changing paths. That's only if he's back. Now, Higuruma stands at a crossroads, north or south. Choosing the north means making a big sacrifice. That sacrifice will happen through a binding vow. It might seem like I'm just toying with the idea of the binding vow, but the truth is that Gege keeps bringing it up throughout the series for a reason. He's dropping hints, suggesting something significant is on the horizon. Also, RCT will mean he comes back the same as before. The whole meaning of the phrase Kaisen in Jujutsu Kaisen is continuous improvement, so it makes sense that everyone in the series, including Higuruma, will be back better than ever. If he comes through the RCT, then we can expect him to come back the same, but this adds no flavor to the series. So binding vow is the likely route for Higuruma. The fourth character that is coming back is Kusakabe. We all witnessed Sukuna messing up Kusakabe in the culling game, giving him a nasty slash across the chest with his cleave and dismantle move. Honestly, Sukuna could have straight up split him in two with a world-cutting slash, but he decided to take it easy on Kusakabe, probably because he didn't see him as much of a threat compared to Gojo. Kusakabe is one of the less durable characters, and the fact that he was slashed in the chest might mean the guy has died. But don't worry, Shoko is still around. However, one thing most of us have forgotten is that the Tengen merger is happening. With the Tengen merger, cursed energy levels will be affected, meaning cursed techniques will be impacted, and Shoko's RCT might also be in trouble. So for now, we'll stick with the binding vow. It could be either RCT or a binding vow for Kusakabe, but let's wait and see. The next character is not dead, but probably will go through some vows, and this character is Megumi. When it comes to Megumi, the guy is still alive, or we can say partially dead. To all you guys who thought Megumi was dead because of Gojo's unlimited void, just know that Megumi is still alive. Even though the unlimited void hit him many times, he managed to survive. However, don't expect him to bounce back stronger than before. The reason for this is that Sukuna used up all of Megumi's 10 shadows after deploying them against Yorozu, Gojo, and other sorcerers. We all saw Megumi's divine dogs being used by Sukuna to kill Yorozu, and that was the last time we got to see them. Mahoraga, Max Elephant, and every other Shikigami were used up by Sukuna, meaning Megumi will come back with no 10 shadows. From the manga, we learn that once a Shikigami is tamed and then killed, it cannot be summoned again, and its power will be inherited by another Shikigami. All of Megumi's Shikigami have been wiped out, which means he cannot summon any of them again. Therefore, the 10 shadows technique will not be making an appearance ever again. Since the 10 shadows technique is also crucial for Megumi's domain expansion, neither the 10 shadows nor the domain expansion will be making a comeback. Given that Megumi's soul has been severely damaged, a binding vow might be possible for him. Know that only those who are aware of the outline of their soul can heal themselves using reverse curse technique. Those who have zero knowledge of the outline of their soul cannot do so. The only 3 people who are aware of the outline of the soul are Yuji, Sukuna, and Mahito. It makes sense that Megumi, who does not know the outline of his soul, will probably go through a binding vow unless Sukuna decides to heal Megumi's soul. Sukuna has the ability to heal others using his RCT, so he does have the potential to heal Megumi's soul with his RCT. Megumi is likely to be freed after Sukuna merges Tengen with humanity. You might be wondering why after Tengen. Well, it's simple. Sukuna needs Megumi's body to merge with Tengen. Yuji obviously won't merge Tengen with humanity, so Sukuna has no other option but to use Megumi. That is why the will was passed on to Megumi and not Yuji. Megumi is half dead, and his body is the perfect vessel for Sukuna to use for the merger. The characters I've mentioned are very likely to go through binding vows. It's still a theory, but it seems to be what Gege is setting up. We haven't discussed Yuta, Maki, and Todo yet, as they are still alive. However, if Gege does kill them off, expect them all to go through some binding vow in the future and end up getting nerfed. Now, let's wait and see what Gege is cooking.